everyone. How you doing? This is Ryan Larson. Welcome to the Lounge with Larz podcast. I'm your host. I have today Kelly Saggione. Am I pronouncing?
Saggione.
Saggione.
Yep.
Okay. She is a powerhouse in the real estate industry. She's helped countless real estate agents with Geo-Farming. We're going to be talking about that today.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to have you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
It is. I'm excited for you to be here, talk about your Geo-Farming, real estate in general. I love real estate.
Yep.
I'm in the real estate industry as well. So we're going to have some good synergy today.
Yeah.
But before we jump into Geo-Farming, which is like your specialty.
Yeah.
And you've helped like hundreds and countless agents in that aspect of the industry. I want to know about how you got into the real estate business.
Okay.
Just take us through your journey. If
Sure.
You don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm born and raised in New York. My father's a contractor, like construction contractor, not like a mercenary contractor.
Contractor killer.
Not a contract killer.
All right.
So I went to ASU. I graduated and I got my master's in curriculum and instruction. So that's a fun play to how I started teaching in real estate, the coaching aspect, because I do love teaching. So I started out as a kindergarten teacher and then I taught third grade for years. I got I'm a high D personality. So I think the repetition of, okay, it's 8 o'clock, unpack, it's 9 o'clock, math. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that just started to wear on me.
Gotcha.
I just couldn't do the Groundhog Day type. And that's just me. Teaching is truly, I think, one of the most important professions. And I just don't think it was a good fit for me. So essentially, I couldn't do it anymore. I did it about 6 years and I was feeling a little lost. And my dad was like, he had friends back in New York where he was from that were realtors and it played well with construction. So he's like, maybe you should get your real estate license. Because at that point I was just like, I don't know what I want to do anymore. And I was really nervous because I had a 2-week stint in college at a call center and I was awful. Awful. I didn't even know.
Just on the phone.
Just like dialing.
Stumbling on
I didn't
your
even know
words.
what I was calling people for. They just gave me a script and I read. So I was a little nervous. I was like, God. So I just always chalked it up that I'm terrible at sales. I just had that in my head because of working for a call center in 2 weeks, for 2 weeks. I don't know why. But that to me was like, oh, I'm a terrible salesperson. I could never. But anyways, I went to real estate school and I really liked it. Really liked it. So then I did 6 months working in tandem, teaching and real estate. And then once my teaching contract ran, the school year ended, I didn't renew. I was like, I'm going to do this full time. So it just took on a life of its own. And I really loved it. I think I loved it. It never really felt like sales the way the call center felt like sales. I think it felt so much more personal. And to me, it felt like a big puzzle. It was like just problem solving and very much, okay, Sally has a house to sell. Johnny wants to buy one. So I just loved that aspect of it. And to this day, I'll always say my favorite part of real estate is putting together deals that aren't I see something hit the market and then finding the end user kind of thing.
Do you have a good Rolodex now that you're like, okay, I see this on the market. This is going to be probably a good fit for Mr. Smith or.
Yep. And those have been my favorite deals because it's so unexpected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just feels really rewarding because I'm like, oh, I solved the puzzle.
That's awesome.
So so it's just been a really good fit. And then I did love teaching. It was a really fun job. Just teaching Geo-Farming, which we'll dive into, has just been a very natural progression as I want to flex other muscles in the space. That's been really fun, creating a course, helping agents cut through all the bullshit I went through.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big one.
Just get them where they need to go rather than all the trial and error and all the money I've spent to figure things out, they can bypass all that. So
Let's,
that is my journey.
yeah, that's super cool. Let's dive into that a little bit. When you, obviously, you probably have experienced a lot of hard knocks through your journey.
Yeah.
What was some of the harder ones that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't get through this, but then you found out a way to navigate it
Yeah.
and get around it? For the listeners, what would be one of those things that you struggle with? Maybe you can tee them up and maybe how to avoid it.
So I think a realtor's journey, really any small business I can never pronounce this word, entrepreneurial journey
Yeah.
comes with a lot of heartache and a lot of, it's very lonely.
Yes.
It's very lonely. And I don't think people ever really talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was like complaining one time to my husband, to Guy, this was years ago, and he's a great listener. But I think at one point I was probably like bogging him down with my complaints. And he was like, I feel like all you're doing is complaining to me. I'm like, but I don't have the water cooler at my job you're all I got. You know what I mean? You're my sounding board for all this stuff. So I think I'm probably spiraling a little bit, but finding your community within your profession, networking, all of that is so important, because a lot of times it can just feel very isolating when you're going through the hardships and stuff. Riding the waves of a market, a really hot market has its own issues, and a really slow market has its issues, and just trying to navigate that. But I think overall, probably the hardest thing I have had to learn to navigate, and it's really something you have to do on your own and you have to sit with it, is overcoming disappointment quickly.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Gosh, I've experienced a lot of those too, Kelly.
Yeah.
And you hit it right on the head. The entrepreneurial journey is lonely, difficult, and at times you're like, how am I going to get through this? But that's where, that spouse comes in. And obviously, you don't want to overload on them.
Yeah.
But that's your sounding board. And I do the same thing with my wife, Kate, and she probably just is, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple businesses. One is obviously in the real estate space. And for the last 2 years, it's been a struggle. But my kind of like saving grace is I've had a couple partners. So it's nice to continue to bounce ideas and pivot. But yeah, when you're solo, especially like a real estate agent, if you don't have that community, like you said, gosh, that's hard. It would just be maybe a lot of days in the coffee shop. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes people look at realtors as, they have a terrible rap, right? Like, unless there are very few that I feel like are revered as like true, but it really is running your own business. But I don't think people really give that enough. I think because so many not even part-time, I shouldn't say that. So many people come to the party when the market's hot. They sell their aunt's house and then they collect a big check and then they dip a year later because they didn't realize like that one deal was really awesome, but you have to prospect. You have to essentially be like your own marketing team. It's so multifaceted, which is what's awesome about it. But sometimes I don't think the public takes it as like a very serious profession. So I forget where I was going with that.
You mentioned like prospecting, not having people take it as a very serious profession. I disagree with. I think like the house it's the most valuable commodity in our life. And so when you're selling or buying, I think the real estate agent is so important because obviously you want to get the best bang for your buck. You want to make sure that they have a good network of buyers or sellers that they're bringing in to get traction through that house. And for me, I leaned on my brother.
Yeah.
Right? He was a real estate agent. And I think we all have real estate agents in the
average
family.
Person knows 8 realtors.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And I was like, when I heard that stat, I was like, no friggin' way. I was like, no way. And then I said, I took the perspective, because obviously I know hundreds of realtors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just took I took like my friend Lauren as my avatar. It's like,
Mhm.
no way. And I sat and I thought of her friends, family. I included myself. And I was like, oh my God, she knows 12 realtors. I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit.
Saturated market.
It is.
Just like everything though.
Yep.
So
Oh
I
yeah.
think for you with your geo-farming, that's how you marketed
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And I think you need to find those niches,
Yep.
and you found one.
Mm.
And yeah, I think real estate agents are super important.
Yeah.
And I sat down with you and talked through some ideas about some clients and interests that I have. And so I always want to make sure that I'm using people who are great at
Yeah.
in their space to get their feedback. Kelly, am I overthinking this? Is my returns too high?
Yeah.
Do you think we can get
Does
this?
this exist?
Does this exist?
Does this exist in this marketplace? So I
And-
remember those conversations we've had.
Yeah. You mentioned prospecting. Let's dive into that and let's lean into your geo-farming
Okay.
to get those prospects. And can you just tell the audience and listeners, what is geo-farming? Especially probably all the real estate agents, maybe they don't even know.
I know.
I don't even know.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because I think some people don't even really know what that is. So basically it's just hyper-focused, hyper-local marketing, different modalities to just show that brand recognition, repetition over and over. So the simplest way I could probably, for the average person who's maybe not even in the real estate space, is if you went to your mailbox today, you're going to get val packs, you're going to get all those marketing pieces. Usually it's I would say the very minimal marketing piece within a geo-farming campaign would be like the half sheet of paper on cardstock, just sold. And it's all the homes that sold in your neighborhood. That's if the very, very basics of it.
Got it.
Right.
We've actually received a lot of those like newsletters,
Yep.
brochures from you. And I'm like, wow, Kelly is definitely on this community.
Yep.
So we live in essentially a really nice gated community. It's a really highly desired neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've pinpointed this is what you want to focus on. And
Yep.
so yeah, we've received those, and you truly look like a specialist in this community.
And that's all it is. It's essentially pinpointing a specific community and then just going all in. But it's not just those newsletters. You get things on your door. You probably don't even see it, or it's just passive marketing, right? But you're probably seeing ads from me on your social media. You're seeing open house signs. You're seeing community events. So it's just a layered marketing effort just to build that brand recognition and really to get market share within a specific neighborhood.
Gotcha. Do you think the real estate agents, that their job title is a marketer?
Essentially, I feel like the hardest, most time-consuming aspect of my job is marketing.
Yeah.
People have said, why don't you offload it? You can get a virtual assistant. You can do this. I've tried all that. But I think really to speak to the way I want my brand to look, I can certainly hire people to run ads for me. I hire people to do my newsletters and my print collateral. But coming across on video and social media, I've tried hiring virtual assistants. I've tried marketing companies that will post for you. It just doesn't come across authentic, I think. I think it doesn't speak the way I want my brand to come across. And I've worked really hard on my brand.
Yes. I've seen a lot of your content.
Yep.
I love your content.
Oh, thank you.
It's very specific, to the point, and it definitely shows that you have a certain niche. I've seen some other content out there, and it's very broad.
Yep.
And then we're getting to know who Kelly is.
Yeah.
And I think that is really important. And I don't care if it's from construction to painting to drywall. You need to lean into who you are and showcase that to the world. And I think that's what people are buying.
Yeah.
Buying Kelly, buying, wow, she's very dialed into this community or the space. She knows what's going on with
Yeah.
interest rates and loans and government plans, all that good stuff. And that's what I've seen on my end. I'm like, Kelly is definitely a lady who I would sit down and allow her to prospect my house for sure. So back to geo-farming. So with these agents, are you bringing agents in to start to, is it like a membership?
Like team, like a building a team? Or so I've tried the membership. To me, what I have done is I've built out a course where we go into picking a viable geofarm. And I teach starting with 9 metrics, because it's not just, oh, that's a nice community, I'm going to start marketing to that one. Someone might already have it on lock. There's certain neighborhoods in our space where I wouldn't dare spend any marketing dollars, because it's not going to even make it scratch.
Because someone has been there for years.
Yes.
They put in the work, they market it to death, and to like break that entry is hard.
It's hard. It can be done.
Yeah.
But it's certainly an uphill battle. But you also need to make sure the turnover's there. There needs to be certain 5 to 10% turnover ratio where you're getting the return on investment for what all these, one, your time, but also all these marketing pieces. And then we go into what your client avatar looks like. Because, for example, I wouldn't want to geo-farm Sun Lakes. I don't live there. I don't play pickleball at 11 o'clock. I don't golf there. It's not my client avatar. It's not me putting out my brand. It's not going to speak to that clientele, because
why I laughed is because I spent almost 5 years down in Sun Lakes as a fireman. And shoot, I knew that area so well. I should have just geo-farmed down there. I'm like, where was Kelly at this point? I could have leaned into you and just, hey, we can kill this.
Yeah, I know. But it's one of those things, like I'm not having brunch at the 3 days a week. Yeah. So that's not a realistic geo-farm for me to insert myself into.
Gotcha.
But where my kids go to school, where my daughter has Girl Scouts, where this is a viable geo-farm for me.
What type of neighborhoods and markets are you looking at specifically for geo-farming?
So I want to make sure that it's an ideal client for me, someone who my marketing, my personality type will speak to. I want to make sure that my return on investment is going to be there, that like the average price point is where I want to operate in. I've sold mobile homes, but that's not where I operate heavily in that space. Yeah. I don't think the juice would be worth the squeeze for me.
So you're looking for that ROI.
Yeah.
That's where you can essentially feed your family, not just put all your marketing dollars into some. You need that ROI on the back end to say, this is a viable neighborhood, this is a viable market, and I'm going to lean into this.
Yep, exactly.
So Kelly, with the 8 modules and like the 9 metrics, can you take the listeners through some of those modules?
Sure.
And share with them what value they're going to get?
Yeah. So basically we go over the 9 metrics, how to pick the geo-farm. Because like I think I mentioned before, a lot of people will throw a few dollars at it, say, oh, geo-farming didn't work. I'm going to try a different lead pillar. I'm going to go all in on open houses. I'm going to go all in on paying for Zillow leads, things like that. Any sort of lead pillar that you take on in sales, and any sales, it's not even just specific to real estate. It's going to take time. It takes time. The rule of 7 in marketing, the average person has to see your face seven times to start making
a connection,
a buyer decision, or so, which I think even they've upped that number because we're bombarded with so much marketing material now.
All social.
Yeah. So really, I take you through a very focused journey on what your marketing pieces should look like. So we go over print collateral, what that should look like, the cadence of it, so that you're not just throwing out one piece a quarter and hoping for the best and seeing what sticks. So we're going to go over print collateral, what gets sent out, and what modality via snail mail, through delivery straight direct to door, things like that. what to include in those pieces and why you include. I'm not one of those people who's, here's the mama's best apple pie recipe that really has no connection to real estate. It's fun. And yes, it gives you repetition. But if you look at my marketing pieces, I'm big on like the DISC assessment or like personality assessment. So each section on my newsletter touches a different personality type because like the engineers at Intel, my fluff part about like community events, that's not going to speak to them, but the charts will, and like what interest rates are doing.
Yeah.
So I try and have different pieces like that on my print collateral. But to close the loop, we go over print collateral, what I do on social media, the cadence of that. We talk about ads. We talk about AI, how we can get a lot of this automated so it's off your plate. We talk about pop buys and community events, how to plan a community event, how you can loop in other small local businesses so that it takes a little bit of the financial burden off of you, things like that. Yeah. We touch on all of that to have a very robust marketing campaign that is sustainable. The return on investment is there. And so that basically you can get to the end user way faster.
Do you have a landing page for that? And is that for the listeners? Can they just go to your landing page and then is there a sign up for your Geo-Farming?
I'll get you the link and then you can tag it or put it in the.
Perfect. Yeah.
Put it in the show notes.
Because I think that would be super important.
Yeah.
For all the real estate agents listening, if they're interested in Geo-Farming, I think that would be an incredible offer because you've cut your teeth in that space.
Oh, yeah.
And so you are a specialist, and those individuals who are like, okay, what neighborhood do I go into? Why does this make sense for me?
Yeah.
Are the ROI, is the money going to be there? You're going to be giving them sound advice, and those the 8 modules and 9 metrics are going to allow them to breathe a little bit easier and say, I can do this.
And it works. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time and you have to be consistent. And it has to be very intentional. It can't just be like, this month, I'm going to throw that out there.
I was going to say, just
see what sticks. Yeah. No, it is a very planned. I have trigger dates. Okay, it is the 13th of the month. I need to start designing this because proofing takes 2 days. Printing takes 1. And then the time it takes to hit the mail, it'll be in their mailbox by X date. It's all been reverse engineered in my course.
Yeah.
But it eventually gets to the point where it's so dialed in, it really doesn't take much time. A lot of it's offset to my assistant. And at one point, I had the number of homes in this specific Geo-Farm has changed because part of it's completed, part of it's new construction. But there were times where I was getting almost 1,000% return on investment. And in Q1 of this year, I had $70,000 in GCI.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So again, that's like gross, not net. It's important. This isn't me like flexing on you, but this is proof it works.
Yeah.
And this is just one lead pillar. Realtors should truly probably have 3. If you're just starting, I'd say take on 3, but really 5. And that's just one lead pillar. Done well, done with intention, and done. So that's my goal. I just want to. The course itself is called the 6-Figure Geo-Farm. And truly, I'm trying to get agents to earn 6 figures and take a little bit of that cyclical feeling out of your business. Because a lot of times in a good market, you're so bogged down with doing transactions that prospecting falls by the wayside. Right. And then that's what brings that cyclical nature to it, where you're like feast or famine. And we all need to get away from that.
Gotcha.
And that's done through systems, and that's done through scheduling and planning. And that's what I give you.
You have an assistant, use CRM to manage all that. Okay. So the listeners probably are going to need some type of CRM to complete this process or get on this schedule.
And truly I feel like any small business owner should have a CRM.
100%.
I don't even know what CRM is. Client relationship management.
Yes.
And a lot of times your brokerage gives you, I can only speak to realtors in this moment, but your brokerage gives you a CRM. A lot of times it's built on the back end of your website. If your broker isn't giving you that, please reach out to me. We should talk. But yeah, a CRM is crucial. And in the course, we talk about how you tag them appropriately. You set them up on certain drip campaigns. But yeah, CRM, absolute.
So you are a broker?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, I am. So I am at Real Broker. So
Okay.
in Arizona, at least, you have to any realtor has to hang their license at a brokerage.
Okay.
So I hang mine
You
at
just
Real
hang yours.
Broker.
So perfect, Kelly. What's one deal or client experience that you've had through your journey that just really stands out, where you're just like, either that was a really good experience, that was a really bad experience?
I had a really special deal where, I mean, it wasn't nothing exciting happened in the deal. It wasn't like a multi-million-dollar deal, but a really feel-good one for me was I helped a teacher. He was probably 65, buy his first home.
Really?
Yeah.
At 65.
At 65.
Teacher, how cool is that?
And it was, again, it was nothing, there were no like crazy selling sunset moments in there, but it was just a really feel-good moment because he was so proud of himself. And it was just a really feel-good, we got a great deal. It was a smooth deal. It was a beautiful little townhome. And I was just like, this is what it's all about.
That's
You know what I
amazing.
mean?
Yeah, and especially for a teacher, probably working so many years. You mentioned it before. Teachers are so important, and
Yeah,
gosh, we just need to
I know.
compensate them.
I know.
You know, I have 2 kids, and you have
Two.
2 kids also. It's just sending them off to school. God, you're trusting them
Yeah,
with your kid's life, and
I
it's
know.
just either educational future, and I'm like, future, and I'm just like, gosh, we need to pay these people
I know.
more. So
I know. So that was probably like one of my favorites.
I like that story, Kelly.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
really cool.
I do too. And I always like my own personal real estate journey.
Yeah.
That's always been an exciting one. Nobody probably wants to hear about it.
No,
But
let's hear it.
I started out as a teacher
Yeah.
and I bought my first house in 2010. The market was in the absolute toilet.
Perfect time to buy.
Yeah, it was. But so it was my first house and it was $95,000 in Chandler.
Do you still own it?
No. But so this is what's been fun about it. We unknowing, and I wasn't in the real estate space, Guy and I unknowingly like house hacked. It's funny because I see all these like real estate gurus on Instagram, like telling people, oh, you got a house hack, you live in it, you fix it up. And Guy and I had no idea what we were doing. And unintentionally, we house hacked. So we kept that house. We bought our next one, rented it out. And then we sold this one, bought the next one, rented this one out. And we just did that.
Yes.
Now we live in our forever home, which is really cool. So
Very close to us.
Very close.
Yeah.
So do I get sad? Damn, I should have kept that house. Yeah, of course. But I wouldn't have been able to fund my forever home without the sale of that $95,000 2-bedroom, 800 square foot house.
That's
But
$97,000.
yeah, 95.
Oh, 95,000.
95.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it is funny because it's so now we have 3 rental properties and we live in our forever home, but we've always just by chance closed on my husband's birthday, every house. So that's a fun real estate factoid in my mind. I always thought that was fun. But yeah, helping that teacher was one of my favorite real estate stories. That was me buying that $95,000 house was terrifying. I was 24. My mortgage was $622 and I was sweating my ass off. Like, how am I going to pay for it? I got to get 3 roommates. How am I going to pay for this? Which is funny now because I can't leave my house without spending $100.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of my favorite real estate stories, my own. As far as like to the other end of that spectrum, like we talked about, the real estate, the entrepreneur's journey is full of heartache.
Yes.
I've done a lot of deals where people have been shisty and screwed me over, treated me poorly. But for the most part, those are few and far between. And sometimes I think it's important for realtors to remember that sometimes the best deal is the one you don't do.
Oh,
You know that old saying?
yes, 100%.
So if I looked back, I could probably say there were like 10 red flags that I just ignored in the name of doing the deal. And I probably could have saved myself time, money, and stress
A heartache.
by just maybe have not even taking them on as client from the beginning and listen to my gut.
Yeah, I've done that so many times too. It's just being in the financial industry. We do the same thing, Kelly. We go out there and we market, and it's not Geo-Farm. We're focusing on certain community and neighborhoods and just clients who have some good wealth to their name. But then you get these clients who come in and they want this a certain way, and they treat you sometimes poorly and talk down to you. And it's, at the end of the day, it's what's going to make you happy. Yes, money is important.
Yes.
We all understand that, but we need to almost have respect for ourselves and make sure if it's going to be a good fit, then awesome. But if it's not, probably let's let this one go. Cut the line, let the fish go.
Yeah. And I think the earlier on people can do that and realize it. Obviously, that's easy to say now. I can be pickier about my clientele, but in the beginning, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to say that now, but yeah, I think the earlier on that you can establish your boundaries, start treating your business like a business, operating it like a business, cutting your losses early, and really getting over disappointment and heartache faster. The faster you can do that, I think that might have been one of the questions that we edited back on that we never finished. I probably went off on a tangent. But I think that the faster you can overcome that disappointment, things like that, move on, sit with it for 20 minutes, sulk a little bit, ugly cry in the shower, and then move on, the better off you'll be.
Go search out guy. Hey, guy.
Ugly cry. Yep.
Do you have a sobbing cry?
Mine's probably more on the ugly cry end of things. I don't think I'm one of those cute criers.
I would say this. Kate has a kind of a terrifying cry.
Does she? I feel like she would have you'd feel really bad watching her cry.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't think anybody feels bad watching me cry though.
My eyes get super red.
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know why. How did we get onto this? Anyways,
I don't know.
We just need a good cry sometimes, right?
We can edit. We can keep it. Yeah. Whatever. I don't care.
We keep going with it. How do you stay motivated in this market through the highs, through the lows? We all seen interest rates ticked up. They're starting to cool a little bit. But how do you stay motivated through those highs and lows?
So for me, I think it's a lot to do with just my personality type. I'm like a dog with a bone. So for me, I think just pushing through is just part of who I am. I do think the less you can get bogged down with some of the noise, like there were times where I had to leave those like real estate chat group, mastermind, Facebook forums. I was like, because people were giving me, people who didn't know what they were talking about, I was like letting them get in my head by reading some of the stuff they were posting. So I think cutting out the noise a little bit, like only talk to trusted sources, lean on your community of fellow entrepreneurs, and really only listening to people who you respect and you want your business to look like theirs. I think that is probably how I can push through best and really just head down and grind. Probably the thing that like festers with me a little bit right now, more so than interest rates. I'm like, am I going to be obsolete by AI? Those conversations,
think we're all thinking that,
right?
Oh God!
I saw this thing Bill Gates said, basically,
about the robots and like the doctors are going to be non-existent.
Yes,
and like all these...
doctors and teachers.
I saw that too.
I think not.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we should wonder.
Yeah.
It's been crazy to see this whole AI transformation. I don't know if you use AI within your business, but I'm starting to lean in more into AI.
I do. Yeah, I do.
And I'm like, wow, this is a game changer for sure.
It is. It's like a blessing and a curse. So that's always something that like festers. And I think if I read too much, I take in too much media on it, it like gives me a little bit of paralysis.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes I just have to step away from that stuff and just head down and just do what I do. And I don't think the human element of real estate I don't think it can be replicated unless it's like the Megan Fox robot from that Netflix movie. Like,
I saw that.
I know,
I
but
think
even
that,
she like glitched. So I'm
yeah,
like not terribly worried.
I think that space, I think all spaces are going to have their
Interruptions.
sometimes. Yeah. Thank you. And AI is definitely, it's starting to be a little bit more, I guess, focused on. And I'm nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, can people just go out and build a portfolio based on the AI algorithms for the stock market? And am I going to be obsolete, I should say. But it's interesting how you can use it for your advantages. But yeah, if you look into anything, you're always going to find things that you're going to be worried of or scared of for the future. I love when you say just head down and grind.
Yeah.
My 2025 New Year's resolution was not continue to consume content. I wanted to put out content, but I didn't want to consume it, because every time when I'm watching social media or just like content about the financial markets or the real estate markets, you become like numb. You're paralyzed. You're like, what do I do? But I find more success when I just put my head down.
Yes.
And I just put pen to paper and I keep going. And I think anyone that is successful, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't listen to other people.
Yeah.
They believe in themselves. They don't let fear dictate their outcomes, and they love a good challenge, and they have that entrepreneurial spirit, and it's alive and well, and they just block everything out. They just keep grinding.
I think to that, people who aren't built like that, like maybe some consumers who aren't built like that, that's why they hire someone like that. Like, they don't know how to dissect all this media that they have just been like bombarded with.
Yeah.
They don't know how to interpret it, how to break it down. With that comes a lot of processes. Like, so that's why they hire people like me, a dog with a bone, because I will take things from A to Z for someone.
Yeah.
And that's part of my value proposition. I feel like when I sit with a potential client, like I tell them, because what I find is when people insert themselves into my process, it gunks up the machine, right?
Yes.
So I tell people, you're hiring me to quarterback this thing. You go to work, live your life. Yes, you can, of course, like be involved, but the more someone throws themselves into my process, I make mistakes. So just let me do my thing.
And I'm sure you're trying to appease them too.
Yes.
I've done the same thing, Kelly. It's, those engineers that you mentioned.
Yep.
And it's, Ryan, I want these stocks in the portfolio. It's, wait, you're hiring me. Let me design the portfolio based on like my knowledge, my expertise. It just goes hand in every aspect of different job titles. And so, people are hiring you because they are looking to sell their house for top dollar. And you have been in this space. You know what to look for. You did a great piece the other day on your social media of the 5 things that you look for when you enter a home for a client, like a potential buyer of a house. You go in and you look at, what was it?
So I know exactly what you're talking about. Like red flags that I look for that if I see them on the initial showing, I know they're going to come up. Like shit's going to come up on the inspection report. No, it's stuff that like, because I think what people do is they go to a showing, they're like, oh, like they're looking around, usually optimistic. Me, but that's your job. You be enamored. Let me look. So I look at the AC grates, right? And the filters. If there's like shit dangling from it, which a lot of times there is, that tells me the AC hasn't been serviced in 6 months. and the filter hasn't been changed every 30 days. Again, I'm not trying to poo everybody's, but it's just stuff that I sit with. I don't call it out. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you love this house, but look at this. I'm just taking notes. I look at baseboards. I think baseboards are like the overlooked pretty much baseline for cleanliness in a home.
Okay, so you're just looking for, is the baseboards clean?
Yes.
Have they taken care of?
What else did I have on that list? When I walk in the house, I am very aware of any fragrances that I smell. Like usually if there's a strong chemical like Glade plug-in, to me, that's an indicator that there's probably an underlying pet odor.
I took our Glade plug-in and I moved it to the other room.
Did you take it? You're like, throw it out.
I was
the
like,
front
oh no,
door.
Kelly's coming over.
Kelly's coming.
It was nice because
Warren's here.
Kate actually bought this. We just designed this front room, and she bought this really nice candle. And it gives us such a great aroma and scent. So hopefully you caught that.
No, I think like luxury designer type fragrances. Like I have those Pura plugins that are like Bluetooth, and you can make it smell like a hotel, and that's different. I'm saying like, you know, those ones you buy at the dollar store that you crack and it's like a gel inside. And people like throw those in their bathroom, and it's
so candles, like really nice.
Oh, that
scents,
stuff's good. All good. But yeah, I know we've probably spiraled on this conversation, but yeah, like things like that are a pretty good indication on the deferred what might be deferred maintenance in a home. And you hired me because I've been in thousands and thousands of homes, occupied, unoccupied, like I've been in hoarding homes. I've been in multi-million-dollar homes. You know what I mean? So I know what to expect. I know what's normal, what's not, what some deferred maintenance, what's a big deal, what's not specific to our area. That's part of my value proposition. Experience, that's a small part of my value proposition, but just breaking down the process into bite-sized pieces, telling you what a lot of times people just don't know what they don't know. So especially if you're moving here from a big one's, a lot of people move here from the Seattle, Washington state area, you know, where it rains 300 days plus a year. You're moving somewhere where we have over 300 something days of sunshine. So if there's a little bit of moisture here, it's not the same as it is there. So things like that, just, it's very much a teaching process.
Yeah.
But I encourage people to ask all the questions. Also, trust that you hired me for a very specific reason to answer the questions. My goal is always to answer questions before you even have them, to get in front of things. And I have processes built out around that. I send things on certain dates because if I send them too soon, you're going to lose them in your email. If I send them too soon, you're going to lose them in your email. If I send them too late, you'll have already asked me. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's very much been reverse engineered to make the process as seamless and stress-free as possible.
It's almost the client's questions
yes.
before they're going to ask them. Yeah, you were once a teacher, still a teacher, but just in a different role.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. What hobbies do you have? Like when you've done a busy day at work, you went to the kiln off, like, I just got to get out of here. Get out of here, excuse me.
Yeah.
You retreat to home, whatever it is. Is there something that you like to do?
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm a gardener, plant lady. Yeah. So I have a really big garden at my house.
Okay.
I have everything from like flowers, vegetables. I've got fruit trees. I've got berry plants. So I really love gardening, and that's probably like my biggest hobby. But also, I think people look at me like I'm like the loser when I say this, but I love watching like HBO and Showtime series. Like the same way people will like are avid readers. I'm like an avid TV watcher.
Okay.
Which sounds, I don't know, it doesn't sound as eloquent, but like White Lotus, all these shows that are out, I'm all in.
So White Lotus, is that out right now?
Oh, yeah.
What's it about?
It's just people's stories on when they're on vacation. And it's like just a total shit show. Highly recommend.
Okay. What about, did you see Succession?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Succession was amazing. Billions is, if we're talking like in the money space,
Yeah.
Billions is an
I
awesome show.
haven't heard of that.
Oh, you've got to watch
Okay.
Billions.
Okay. I'm a money guy, so
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah. If you like Wall Street, remember like
I
that
love
Wall Street movie?
Yes.
If you like that, you have to watch Billions.
Can I tell you a quick story real quick?
Yes. Always.
Yeah. I think I was 10 years into the fire department. Excuse me. My favorite show was Wall Street when I was a kid. Don't ask me why. I just thought it was super cool. I watched Gordon Gekko so many times. Coming out of high school, I was a wrestler in high school. I think you coach wrestling. Or
No.
What'd you do with wrestling?
I love that you said
Yeah, you did
wrestling.
something, right?
So when I went to ASU, I was the manager for the wrestling team. That's how I got my tuition for.
So you weren't a coach.
No.
Manager
Love that.
You're like, do a single leg, double leg right here.
Fireman's carry.
There you go. Wow. And yeah, so I had a little bit of like a wrestling background. So coming out of high school, I got like a little scholarship to Embry-Riddle. And I was like, I'm not going to be a pilot.
Yeah.
So I come home and my mom has like a newsletter or newspaper with explorers, like fire explorers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome. I've got to hang up my wrestling background. And
yeah.
So I explored that and I got hired, and 10 years into it, I'm like, I think I want to do something else.
Yeah.
But it's like a 20-year career.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever get into the different jobs, or you start off a job and you're just like, this is just a job now. I want to do something else. I'm like always trying to go. But I just remember I loved investing. I used to watch Wall Street, and then Wolf of Wall Street. And
God, I love that movie.
That came out, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just started leaning into this investing, and fast forward, and now I'm an investment advisor. I have a financial firm, and I'm doing like a plug for me now too. But that's my passion. So I'm a fireman, a financial advisor, and real estate. I guess not an agent, but real estate. Gosh, what would I describe myself? Real estate, not a developer.
Like a investor.
Investor. Yeah. Real estate investor. Yeah.
That's what I'd call it.
There you go. So I'm just
REIT, right?
REITs. Yeah. So essentially, we have a private equity company, and it's like a REIT, not publicly traded. It's like off market. But anyways, that's super cool. So farming, obviously our girls were in Girl Scout, and so we live right down the road from you guys, and you're friends with one of my other podcast guests, Jake, and friends with Suzanne. And you guys are taking a trip here pretty quick, right?
Yeah. We're going to Dominican Republic.
Where was our invitation?
I know. Like traveling with people is very delicate balance. You have to dip your toe in and make sure you travel well together.
Yes.
So we'll catch you on the next.
We should try.
We'll work to it.
I'm pretty laid back.
Yeah.
I think you are too.
I get
We'll
it.
be all right.
Yeah. No, Jake and Suzanne, my husband Guy and Jake were neighbors when they were 5.
Wow.
Did you ever know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, Guy and Jake have known each other since they were 5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And in Chandler. And then they obviously have been friends the whole time. And now they're our neighbors now. And our kids.
Was that planned? Or?
Yes.
That was planned.
That was designed.
By you?
By me.
Did you sell them the house?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice, Kelly. And it's such a cute, like you guys have a great little community.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'm redneck or whatever. I like to be, I like to be out away from the city. And once again, we live in a nice community, but I'm the type of guy, I need space.
Yeah.
So I bought 5 acres in Pine Top. I just want to go build a massive cabin and just sell everything and just, be a redneck up there. Just,
you know, what's funny. I like my retirement goal. I used to say it like somewhat joking, but I'm quirky enough where I actually deeply mean it. I want to live in the woods on a farm by the ocean.
In a woods
on a farm by the ocean.
Wow.
I don't know how.
Could that be like?
But then as time has gone by and we've traveled different places, I'm like, this is like in the woods on a farm by the ocean. Connecticut,
really? I've
Rhode
seen
Island.
about states, that
like,
could offer that.
Holy shit.
Interesting.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and you love farming, essentially. So, that would be a perfect
I know.
retirement.
Yeah.
So Arizona is probably not in the cards for your whole life.
Oh, no, I think for Guy and I, a lot of it depends what the kids do.
Yeah.
We'll probably keep a house here
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
just not be here during the summers.
Yeah, that's how we are too. We don't want to be here with the summer heat anymore. Perfect. Kelly, is there anything else that you want to add? Maybe about geo-farming, about yourself? A little plug for Kelly time.
A little plug for Kelly time. I feel like I've been plugging myself the whole time. Sorry, everybody.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah. So not really. It's funny you say it. I love what I do. I love what I do. Is it hard? Yeah. Does it suck sometimes? Absolutely. But I couldn't imagine changing careers or doing anything different or going to 9 to 5. Or I think especially I've been doing this almost 15 years. It still can, as much as I was like, oh, take out some of the cyclical nature of real estate business. I think every business faces that no matter what.
100%.
For external factors, interest rates, things like that. But even when it's really hard and the market's really challenging and things are out of my control, I still wouldn't trade it for going back to an office or 9 to 5. I love the journey of the small business owner.
Love it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
And I've met the best clients. I've met the best clients that have become dear friends. And then even just other realtors. I think they really nailed it when they said collaboration happens at the top, competition happens at the bottom. Because some of the realtors even in our market are my best friends. And there's no competition.
That's fantastic.
It's all love, baby.
Yeah.
No, it really is. If I needed anything,
they're there.
They're here. Take it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's
so
beautiful.
I think running your own business is a really special thing. And especially, I feel very lucky that it's such a big part of my life and it's worked out and I can continue to do it.
Yeah,
so
from the $95,000
Mhm.
2-bedroom, 2-home, then just rinse, repeat. Now you have a beautiful house,
Yeah.
beautiful family. Kelly, it's been great. Thank you so much for
Thanks for having me.
taking
This was so fun.
time. Yeah, it's been a blessing having you. Where could the listeners find you? Do you have Instagram?
Yes, I have all the things.
The social.
I'll give you the handles. You can put them in the show notes, but I'm probably most active on Instagram. A realtor friend of mine, Caitlin, and I started a real estate podcast, but it's more like fun,
Okay.
a little bit tactical, a little bit storytelling. It's called Slightly Under Asking. That's going to fire up soon. And so Instagram, the podcast, and if anybody out there's just a consumer and looking to buy or sell, I'll leave my cell phone and web address and we can connect and
That's beautiful.
take you from A to Z.
There you go. Slightly under listing.
Slightly Under Asking.
Oh, asking. My apologies. That's super cool. When is that launch?
We haven't picked a date. We're just getting backlog. We're trying to do a bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun.
Has
it? Yeah.
Good. Where's it going to be at?
So we've been going to a studio downtown.
Okay.
So it's been really fun. We had our first guest on. She's an agent in our market.
Okay.
And she's just killing it on Instagram.
Really?
She's been an agent for 2 years and she closed 17 deals last year, all from Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it just speaks to that. It's funny because you mentioned brand authenticity at one point, and I feel like that's probably one of the hardest things, how to articulate what you want your brand to look like to the masses, especially when this also triggered something you said. You said you're a firefighter, you're an investor, you're a financial planner. You're not one person. And I feel the same way. I read this quote. I've been 1,000 different women, and I have. And I feel that. So it's been a journey for me to articulate like a very non-disjointed message through social media and video and all of that, and podcasting, and especially when I feel like I'm so many different people. But the guest, Courtney, she just does it so well. And I think that she's really magnetic. So it was really cool to have her on the show.
That's
and I can see why she's killing it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, Instagram is such a special place. You definitely have the reach there, but yeah, it takes a lot. But yeah, if you put yourself out there, you let your authenticity come through.
Yeah.
And once again, you're doing a great job. I love your content. It definitely can drive some traffic.
Yeah.
So I actually saw, we'll end it with this, but I saw like your house diagram, and you're just, 30 houses.
Oh,
and you're
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
tick away, trying to get them all done.
Yep.
30 houses in a year.
Yeah, that's my goal for this year. So
That's exciting.
yeah.
And where are you at right now?
I am at 6.
Okay.
So Q1 wrapping up 6. So but then I took in the seasonality and things like that into account. So I'm thinking Q2 will make up for some of it.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Hopefully interest rates come down a little bit, then you
Yep.
start getting a little bit more traction. So if any listeners out there are buying or selling a home, please reach out to Kelly Saggione. Did I say that right? Okay, perfect. We'll link all the Instagram, all the handles down at the bottom here.
All the things.
All the great social content things. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. It's been a great episode with Kelly. And if you guys could do me a favor, please hit the subscribe button, post a review, and that would give us a lot of help on our end. We're a new podcast, but we're hoping to go big places along with Kelly too.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Kelly.